with gas. James Carville, you were on my old buddy Jim Acosta's show, and you said, hey, people tell you they're worried about the midterms, and you say you should be because there's a good chance that Trump will try to pull something. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I don't know. What I think is going to happen is Virginia and New Jersey are going to be Democratic blowouts. And I think he's going to read the election. By the way, there are more people that live in Virginia and New Jersey than live in New York City. And we ought to talk also, we talk about things that happen in New York City. We should talk about we got the Sterling candidates also in Virginia. And
please don't tell me we're doing this again. Please don't tell me that the TDS is that strong that we're going to go through this whole Trump wants to be a dictator thing all over again. Please say it isn't so.
And New Jersey. And I think he's going to see this big, beautiful bill is about 25 points underwater. It's going to be 30 points underwater. He's going to see a massive defeat coming, and he's going to try to do anything he can to extricate himself from that defeat. And I would not put it at all past him to try to call martial law or declare that there's some kind of national emergency in the country or anything like that.
Some kind of national emergency, like, say, a pandemic where people can't go out and vote. I've heard that before, but it wasn't the Republicans.
Because the hoof prints are coming, you can hear them, and they're going to get a shellacking in November of 2026.
Bill O'Reilly, do you believe the President of the United States is capable?
Wait, first and foremost, why are we still listening to James Carville? He was an amazing political mind in the Clinton era. He was completely wrong about the 2024 election. Even up to like 2 weeks before it, he was absolute about what the outcome was going to be. And I just think it's rich of people like this to be out here commentating and never revisit the things that they said a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago that were completely wrong. I don't know why people keep giving them airtime, but I'm glad they do because it gives me something to talk about.
Capable of such perfidy as suggested by James Carville.
Well, after hearing Carville, I'm buying a condo in Luxembourg tomorrow. I'm getting out. Martial law, my God. You're going to have tanks in my driveway? No, I don't believe that will happen. I'm willing to bet James 18 muffalettas that there will not be martial law. I'll throw in some crawfish and whatever else he wants. And this kind of, I don't know, scare tactic, would that be it? I'm not scared. Maybe.
What I do like, I have to say this, is look at the people that are on this panel. And as much as they disagree, they're here and they're talking. I love that. We need more of that. So I don't really back Stephen A. because I think he's a fake independent. He's clearly a Democrat and probably going to run for president as a Democrat. And you have James Carville. He is what he is and he says what he is. You have Bill O'Reilly and then you have Cuomo. All of them are from a different political viewpoint, but they're talking. This is what we need. We need these type of conversations, and we can disagree, but I imagine these guys hang out and have conversations outside of political conversations, and that's healthy.
Maybe Stephen A's a little scared. He's got a little perspiration there on his forehead, but I'm not worried about cheating or anything else. I think that the
underwater, the whole Democrat Party is underwater, right? Have you seen the?
Yeah. So the thing with this is, you have those people out there speaking, and then people are talking about how, the big, beautiful bill is underwater and people don't like it. I think we need to wait until 2026. The midterms will tell what happens, because in the midterms, because we have now a Republican administration, historically, the midterms flip everything around. That's what usually happens. And that makes sense because it gives us more balance. I don't think it's a good political system where you have one party running all of the branches of government. But if what Trump has done is popular and they get more seats in the Senate and more seats in Congress, the proof is in the pudding. There's no need to rig an election. I think in their view, they're rigging the election by doing things that will get them more seats when the midterm happens. So that's how we'll know how popular it is or it isn't. And all they want to do is talk about how unpopular certain things are, but the data is not supporting a lot of the things that they are trying to project. the left-wing media and the general media, they all have a narrative and they all have an angle. But if you look at a lot of the things that are happening in the economy right now, we're not in a recession, the jobs report was good, etc. But one thing we do know is that the Democrats are very unpopular.
Democrats and their approval rating lately? Yeah. So without further ado, let's get into Joy Reid going full blue and on here.
Whenever Democrats say to me, this is the reason we have to coalesce for 2026, I always add to the end of that sentence, assuming we actually have free and fair elections. I think it's insane, honestly, to just assume we're going to have normal elections next year. I don't assume that because these Republicans, let me give you an example. 16 House Republicans, okay, wrote down and signed their names and signatures saying that this big billionaire bailout bullshit bill is going to hurt.
All right, we're going to talk about people signing letters. Didn't a bunch of FBI directors and former FBI directors sign a letter saying that the laptop, which everybody knew was genuine, didn't they sign a letter saying that it was Russian disinformation? And why is anyone listening to Joy Reid? Joy Reid is the absolute worst. Her ideas are inconsistent. The only consistent thing about her ideas is that there always has to be a race thing in it. Black people are being held down. Black women are being held down. Anything that is opposed to what the Republicans are saying, that's her view, even if it's inconsistent with something that she said before. I would bet my bottom dollar. I haven't looked at the analytics, but I would bet Black conservative perspective gets more views than Joy Reid, because I don't think anyone was really watching her because of her sunny personality, because her name and her personality are not the same. She's not a joyous person. But I think because she was on television and she was saying the thing that people wanted to hear on CNN, they listened. But as an independent, just like Jim Acosta, a lot of these other people that had the backing of these huge corporations, now that they're solo, Don Lemon, all of them are having problems. I think Chris Cuomo's doing all right because he's kind of come to the center and he brings some good people together. But Joy Reid, I'm going to listen to her, but I'm not really that interested in what she has to say and her conspiracy theories, because when they're proven wrong, she's not going to come here and apologize to anybody. She's just going to come up with new ones to try to stay relevant.
That's exactly how you should call it.
Yeah, it is going to hurt their own constituents. They said it. They wrote it down. They said this bill is an abomination. It's going to hurt our people. And then all but one of them voted for it anyway. The only one who didn't vote for it, it's not even as if he was courageous enough to vote no. He just didn't vote at all. So what we had you had Lisa Murkowski, who admitted that this bill is going to gut the very heavily. It's one of the top 5 states for the number of Medicaid recipients is Alaska. Louisiana's number 1. West Virginia is in there as well, but Alaska is way up there. She admitted this was going to gut her people, tried to get a fix for them, didn't get it, and still voted for it.
Yep.
So what you're seeing is
But
Republicans.
The thing is, you can't just vote based on one aspect of the bill. These bills are huge, and most people don't even read the whole bill. But you can't vote based on one aspect. And at the end of the whole debate, you have to vote yay or nay. So what are you going to do? Otherwise, nothing would ever get passed through Congress, whether it be Democratic leadership or Republican leadership. You're always going to have something in there that's maybe not great for your state, but you have to weigh it out. What's going to be best for the country?
What that tells me is that they're not actually worried about getting reelected. If they feared being reelected, they would not vote for this bill because they know it's going to devastate their states. Mainly rural red states are going to get devastated. New York will try to take care of its poor. Maryland, California, blue states, Vermont will try to take care of their poor. They won't let their poor die the way that they will in red states. Louisiana, Mississippi, they're going to get devastated, red states. To me, the fact that Republicans are still voting.
So what she's saying here, and this is that their pure evil mentality. Like what she's saying is that the red state governors are going to just let people die just because they're Republicans. But, you know, you have these Democratic governors that just have a heart for poor people. I don't think anyone on this planet is that black and white. I don't think that there's any value to be added by letting your people die. I think there's so many different aspects of any economy. For her to sit here and say that these people should have voted against it because of one aspect of it is silly. And furthermore, this happens with so many different bills. You know, you have Republicans that sometimes align with Democrats and Democrats who sometimes align with Republicans. That's how it should be. We need to be able to work across the aisle and we need to see the biggest picture. But to me, the most important thing is come 2026, what are they going to be saying then if these tariffs prove to be successful, if the big beautiful bill proves to be successful? They're going to come up with another excuse.
For the bill tells me that they're not actually worried about being reelected. The way Trump is behaving, he's not acting like somebody who worries that his party will lose power, or that even if somehow we had normal elections and Democrats took control of either house of you know, this House or the Senate, he's not acting like somebody who's worried about the consequences of that. This is somebody who is behaving as an autocrat because they don't anymore believe. He said it during the election, I don't need your votes anymore. And he doesn't. I don't think Trump intends to leave office. I'm very clear about that. I think he intends to stay in office like Putin till he dies, like Bukele has done, blown past their term limits. Bukele should be out already. He's still there. I think he's going to try to.
When they say this, it baffles me. Trump is 80 odd years old. He was a billionaire before he ran for president. Why would you wait until you're in your late 70s and your 80s to become a dictator? Again, look at history. You've never had a dictator that started their career as a dictator at 70 odd years old. It's just a silly thing to say. He has less to gain by trying to be a dictator than just walking away. Yes, he'll probably line his pockets in some way. All of the politicians do that. But I think one of the things that I do believe or think that I think is that even if he's doing things that are lining his pockets and those around him, I think at the top of the agenda is making sure that America is lining America's pockets. Whereas a lot of other politicians, they just go in broke, they become wealthy while they're there, and everything they do is to sustain and maintain their wealth, even at the detriment of America. So we will see. And that's always my thing. Let's wait and see. I'm willing to be wrong. I'm putting this on video that if I'm wrong, you know, someone can say, look what you said. But the media doesn't do that. Joy Reid doesn't do that. She's been wrong about pretty much everything. But it's always, if it hasn't happened now, it will happen in the future. So that's her get out of jail free card.
Pull an Orban, pull all of these, Xi Jinping, all of them. He's going to do that because he's making so much money now. The grift is so good. He's not going to leave and get all this, let this money go. And I think that Republicans are presuming that they're going to put enough restrictions in place that they can't be voted out. So I think it's going to take an extraordinary movement to get rid of them.
I think that you are trying to do a grift because you're no longer on a major station. You have to say these really outrageous things to get clicks. And this is not an attack of Joy Reid as a person. It's just saying that this seems to be her shtick. You know, because if she was to really look at the policies and look at things that she said and the things that she's right about, just keep talking about those things. But the things she's wrong about, say, you know what, I got that wrong. I was on television every day saying this particular thing, and I said it for 3 years and it never happened. But anyway, I just hope we're not going to go through this whole thing again about Trump wanting to be a dictator and them taking away people's rights, because the Supreme Court time and time again has sided with him. And then they criticize the Supreme Court then. But when it goes against them, then all of a sudden they do believe in the Supreme Court. Anyway, that's it for me. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Make sure that you check out the original video by Black Conservative Perspective. It would be great to get him to 1 million subscriptions. And make sure you share this video. And if you don't like what I'm saying or you disagree, make sure you put that in the comment. I'm always open to being wrong.